How far would you go if literally everything you loved was violently ripped away? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a profoundly dark tale of vengeance. We're going to reframe a terrifying folklore story entirely around a sister's grief, her unyielding love, and honestly, her ultimate sacrifice. This isn't just your standard horror story about a monster hiding in the dark. No, it's a deep psychological breakdown of exactly how far someone will go to execute a completely terrifying retribution. I mean, just imagine starting a journey knowing for a fact that your own death is the guaranteed price of admission. Your death is also certain. Do you accept? That chilling quote right there, delivered by a demonic entity, instantly sets up the monumental stakes of our protagonist's mission. Our main character, Nishta, hears these exact words and get this. Without even a second of hesitation, she agrees. To understand why someone would willingly accept their own demise just to get revenge, well, we really have to look at the anatomy of her trauma.
Which brings us to part 1, witnessing the ultimate horror.
Okay, to truly understand Nishta's descent into darkness, you really have to picture the scene. It's supposed to be a night of celebration, right? Nishta unexpectedly arrives at this old mansion on the night of her sister Porvi's wedding. She's just there to celebrate love, a new beginning, the whole shebang. But she doesn't find a celebration. Instead, literally the very first thing that greets her is this horrifying, blood-curdling scream echoing right through the dark halls. And honestly, the sheer panic of that one moment, that is the catalyst for absolutely everything that follows. So Nishta walked in expecting a joyous, traditional wedding night, but the reality she stumbled into, it was a full-blown demonic sacrifice. She finds her sister's new husband, Purab, but he's dressed in dark robes, completely covered in ash, and he's dancing like a literal monster after brutally sacrificing Porvi to this dark power. I mean, he wasn't a groom at all. He was a cultist who had just severed her sister's head. And in that single, completely shattered moment, Nishta the loving sister died, and Nishta the avenger was born. Let's move into part 2, the vow of dark magic. So how does Nishta process this unimaginable grief? Well, she doesn't just break down, and she absolutely doesn't go to the authorities. Because, let's be real, what human law could possibly punish a monster like Purab? Instead, she comes up with this hyper-focused, truly terrifying plan. She decides to fight fire with, well, hellfire. Her weapon of choice? A bakshini. This is a dark, demonic female entity that feeds entirely on the blood of the men she sleeps with, just slowly draining their life force. See, Nishta realizes Purab's weakness is his own ritual of marrying and sacrificing innocent brides. So she's going to give him a bride he can absolutely never survive. But to actually summon this entity, Nishta has to put herself through this grueling, forbidden 11-day ritual known as a sadhana. We're talking standing on one leg in an abandoned graveyard at midnight, braving freezing winds and crawling insects, all without breaking her concentration. And then finally, she physically offers her own blood to a clay pot just to bind the entity. She's literally stripping away her own humanity step by agonizing step, basically proving she is 100% ready to sacrifice herself for this revenge. All right, part 3, setting the perfect track. Now that the dark entity is locked down in a clay pot, Nishta basically turns into an investigator. She's got to orchestrate the absolute perfect opportunity to unleash this thing on Purab without him suspecting a single thing. And while she's digging, she uncovers Purab's dark history. It turns out Porvi wasn't just an isolated incident. No, 5 other brides had vanished before her. So once she understands his pattern, Nishta makes a morally terrifying choice. She decides to use Porvi's grieving roommate, Megha, as bait. I think this really shows just how cold and calculating Nishta's grief has made her, She's actually willing to risk an innocent girl to secure her trap. It is a textbook case of dramatic irony. Nishta is pulling the strings from the shadows, convincing a grieving, super vulnerable Megha to reach out to Purab for closure. And Purab, he plays the role of the heartbroken fiancé perfectly, quickly grooming Megha because he fully intends to make her his 7th victim. Megha actually thinks she's finding comfort and true love after a tragedy, completely oblivious to the fact that she is walking directly into a deadly trap set by her missing friend's sister. Nishta is basically orchestrating this massive collision course, right at an isolated mountain bungalow. This takes us right to part 4, the wedding night retribution. Okay, so the trap is officially set. Purab brings Megha to the isolated bungalow. He does his whole dark marriage ritual thing and gets ready for his favorite part. He is fully expecting an innocent, naive bride ready for the slaughter. But Nishta, she's executed an absolute masterstroke. While Parab was distracted, she shattered the clay pot. So right as Parab lifts the bridal veil to inspect his victim, he realizes he's made a catastrophic mistake. It is not Megha under that veil. The Bhikshini takes her true, absolutely terrifying form. And just like that, the hunter instantly becomes the prey. And the immediate punishment here is fascinatingly psychological. The entity doesn't just, kill him on the spot. First, she seduces him into this totally helpless trance. His voice completely vanishes. He can't even scream for help. Then, total bodily paralysis sets in. He's left completely awake, entirely aware, but utterly trapped inside his own unmoving body. He is reduced to nothing but a helpless observer as Nishtha finally walks into the room to reveal her master plan. And finally, part 5, a sister's final sacrifice. The trap worked flawlessly. Nishta is standing right over the paralyzed Parab, her sister's murderer, who is now completely at her mercy. And then she delivers his ultimate sentence. And wow, it is brutal. She tells him, "I will coat your paralyzed body in honey, so ants to eat you alive drop by drop." Talk about intense, right? She completely denies him the mercy of a quick death. Because he's paralyzed, he is going to feel every single insect. He'll suffer immense hunger and thirst, and he will just slowly rot away, fully conscious but unable to move a single muscle. It's a punishment perfectly tailored for a guy who spent his life stripping others of their agency. But remember that quote from the very beginning? The dark magic demands a final, terrible price. And this is exactly where Nishtha's tragic heroism shines through. To make sure Megha escapes unharmed, and to actually fulfill her demonic pact, Nishtha has to complete the final transfer. She sits down, begins the final dark chants, and the Bhikshini actually leaves Purab and violently enters Nishtha's body. Nishtha willingly takes on this agonizing pain as her own life force, her blood, is completely drained away by the entity until she's nothing left but a dry husk. She sacrifices her own life, literally giving every single drop of her blood just to ensure the monster is defeated and the innocent girl goes free. And that brings us to a really profound stopping point. It's a brilliantly dark narrative where the villain absolutely gets his horrifying, agonizing due. But we really have to ask ourselves, looking back at Nishtha's whole journey, by trading her soul, stripping away her own humanity, and sacrificing her very life to secure this absolute vengeance, did our tragic hero actually find any peace at all? Or did she just disappear into the exact same dark abyss she used to destroy her enemy? It's a haunting question about the true cost of revenge. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder that thought.